Hello everyone, so this is the second and the final video where we'll be joining every piece together. So since we have cut out the lining and also added paper stay on the lining, the next thing I would do is to fold the skirt into two just like this. Then I'll remove ½ inch on the skirt's line for both the front and the back. I will also place the front side of the lining that I just cut out on the back side so that I would know the allowance or the space that I'll be cutting out. So I'll just cut out that remaining excess space. So basically, if you're cutting out ½ inch from the lining is going to be ½ inch shorter than the main material, which is the Ankara. You place the lining on the Ankara right side facing each other, and then you go ahead to sew that part that I just showed you now. You do the same thing for both the front and the back side. Now, after sewing that place down, you go ahead to measure ½ inch on the sides of the skirt below the line that you just finished sewing. You do that both on the front side and on the back side, and you see me doing it here. So after I have used my chalk to alight that ½ inch, I would now fold it in and notch that part. So I'll fold it in, notch that part, and then from that ½ inch that I use my chalk to alight, that is where I am going to be sewing down. Now, the essence of taking that Ankara ½ inch in with the lining before sewing down is because we do not want the lining to reflect outside, but the Ankara. I'm going to be showing you guys the back view of it properly so that you will understand. Also, I'll go ahead to notch out the sides of the skirt so that when I turn it to the right side, it's going to lay properly. This is the back view of the skirt. You can see that the Ankara is also appearing there. I will just go ahead now to give it a good press, both the front and the back side of it. The skirt is already too short for me, so I am not going to be trimming much. So I'll just go ahead to trim out the front part that are not equal. I'll trim that out. Then I'll take my dart measurement. You can also use your nipple to nipple to get your dart. I'm just going to take my dart measurement, which is 4, and then from that 4 I am going to be sewing down to like 6 inches. For the back side, I would go ahead to sew the zipper line so that when I'm sewing my dart, it's equal. So I'll place the front on the back side, and I'll use the chalk to alight where that front side stop, and wherever it stop, that's where I'm going to sew down as my zipper line. Then from there, after that, I would now sew my dart. This is how I sew my dart, and you can already see the neatness and the shape of the skirt is already coming out both for the front and the back side. The next thing you will do is to join your skirt together, and if you want to start joining, you start from the back side. You divide it by 4, and then you flip over to the right side and divide by 2. And if you do that, you're going to have an accurate waist and hip measurement without any difficulty. You should be having something like this. Now it is time to attach the band. From the back where the zip will be starting from, that is where we are going to start our measurement from. So we'll measure from that side all the way to the other side of the back. Whatever you get is what you're going to be cutting out. For me, I am going to be doing 4 inches wide by 36 inches long. And then I'm going to be adding extra ½ inch for it. I'll go ahead to apply stay on it, the hard one, the one used for band, and then I would just apply the pieces that I have and then trim out all the ones that are not needed for it. And then the next thing is I apply the stay on just one part of the Ankara, and on that part I would be folding it ½ inch. When you fold ½ inch in, the other side that doesn't have stay will be having ½ inch out. Now you go ahead to sew in the side without stay on the back side. Then you flip over to the right side. The right side is where you're going to be sewing the place with the S day where you folded half inch in. I hope you understand. If you follow the explanation, then you'll be having your band for the skirt, and then we are done for the skirt for now. So let's proceed to the top. For the top, we're going to be joining every lining to its main fabric. We'll go ahead. The first thing we'll do is to turn the neck first. After sewing the neck, remember that it is not a straight line. So after sewing it, you will have to notch, then top stitch. Then you go ahead to attach the sides together. Place it together just like this to know where the zip for the front will be starting from. So you just use your chalk to highlight that out. The next thing we want to do is to reconfirm the length of the dress and then trim out any excess space that are not equal. Now you can now go ahead to cut this however you want. If you want it curved, then you can do that. If you want it straight, you can also do that. For mine, I will be sewing it straight. So I'll just go ahead to cut out the places that are not equal because the length is already okay for me. This is where we are going to be turning the dress now. I know you must have been wondering, aren't we going to turn the dress? We're going to be turning it now. So I would go ahead to loosen the sides a bit. Then I would just use my chalk to measure 1 inch and then highlight that side. After highlighting, I will now cut out that 1 inch from the lining part, not from the Ankara but from the lining. I'll do this both on the front and also on the back side. I will turn it over to the back side and I'm going to join it together. After joining that side together, you will notice that some part of the Ankara is still left, and this is because you already cut out 1 inch from the lining. Now what you will do is to drag it to what I am doing like this. You drag it up like this and then you sew it down. If you follow the method, you're going to be having something like this. You notch both sides and then you flip it over to the right side. You can also use your scissors to push out the edge, but you have to be careful while doing it. Now your blouse is all set, very neat on the inside and both on the outside. The next thing we'll do now is to take our dart. For the dart, I'll be going in by 4 inches. For the back side, I am going to be coming down by 8 inches and I will start my dart from that 8 inches. From the 8 inches, I will start a straight line. Then I'm on the waistline, I am going to be going in by 1 inch and then I'll do another straight line to the end side. Then on the front, I am going to be starting my dart from my under bust. I'm trying to draw a diagram of how the dart will be looking like since I forgot to do it with my chalk. So let me still explain it. From the starting line, I'll start sewing straight. Then once I get to the waistline, I will go in by ½ inch and then I would now curve and sew straight down to the ending part. The same thing I am going to do for every side of my dart. So I hope you understand the diagram that I was trying to draw. The next thing I'm going to do now is to turn the shoulder. So for the shoulder, I'll place both sides like this. I'm going to open the lining part of the back side. After placing it equally like this, I'll open the lining part of the back side and then I am just going to sew straight down carefully. After sewing, I should be having something like this for both the front and the back, looking neat and looking perfect. So the next thing now is to join the sides of the blouse. So I'll use my pin to pin it, making sure that it is pinned well and accurate. And then from the front where there's joining, I am going to start my measurement from there and I'll be dividing each measurement by 4. So I'm going to divide my bust by 4, my waist by 4, and then my hip by 4. So after sewing that down, I'll flip over to the other side, which is the back side, and I'll divide by 2. And then after that, I would go ahead to remeasure my shoulder and then my armhole. I'm using my shoulder measurement for my armhole. So I'll measure my shoulder and then cut out
the armhole. Then for the front side of the armhole, I am going to go in by the middle point. I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. I'll be showing you guys how it is. This is the armhole, and you see that the front side is like 1/2 inch inward from the back side. The next thing is to attach my sleeve. I have attached the first sleeve. I'm going to attach the second one. So I'll notch the midpoint of the sleeve, and I'm going to place the midpoint of that sleeve on the shoulder line of the armhole, and I'll just sew all the way around. You should be having something like this at the end. We can also do an inner sewing, but I prefer this outer one. So we'll move over to joining the zip at the front. For the zip, before I join the zip, I'll use my hemming gum to lay down the fabric just to give it that firm look. Now that we are done with that, we're going to be joining our zip. I started the zip where my skirt ends, but you can do your half length plus 2 inches. So if your half length is 16, add extra 2 inches, that's 18 to get it. So I am going to place my zip on the fabric like this. I'm going to be sewing this zip the normal way, the way you attach your zip to your gown, your dresses. That is how you're going to be sewing this one, and you can sew this however you like. You can also do inner sewing, but I'm going to be sewing mine this way. So after sewing this part, I'll place the other side and use my chalk to take out where the zip end, and that's going to serve as my guide. So I'll be knowing where I'm starting my sewing from or where I'll be ending my sewing from. After that, you go ahead to cut, and then you fold in your zip, and that should be all for the dress. We have come to the end of this tutorial. If you've waited for this part 2, I want to thank you for your patience, and also please give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful. If you've not subscribed, please do that and help me grow. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye and have a great day.